Well, hello and welcome to another segment of the Gold Standard. Today's topic we want to talk about is insurance coverage from your travel credit cards enough? A lot of people always ask me that. A lot of my clients ask me, is insurance from my travel credit card enough? Because I'll always offer them travel insurance whenever they're going someplace. But they'll always tell me, well, I got insurance for my travel credit card and I think I want to use that. Well, let's kind of talk about that for a minute. So I did some research and I went to Insure My Trip. It's one of the online insurance providers. And one of the things we have understood is that half of the travelers of the U.S. have no idea whether their domestic health insurance plan would cover, say, emergency doctor or hospital visits when they're traveling outside the country. Well, spoiler alert, understand this. Most plans cover nothing. Unfortunate occurrence like medical evacuation, those things can cost you almost $100,000. So if you have to be medically evacuated back to the U.S. from another country, that can pretty much wipe out most people's life savings. And so one of the things is I talked to Megan, she's one of the directors there at Insure My Trip, to kind of get a little more clarity around this question, and a lot of others as they were related to travel insurance, and kind of help understand what people can expect from their travel credit cards to when they cancel for any reason coverage. Because a lot of credit cards are offering you a lot of travel perks, as we call them, but a lot of people just really aren't sure what that covers. And guess what? That's where me as a travel agent, this is where I come in to kind of help you navigate that, just to make sure that you understand what your credit card does and does not cover. So please understand this. For people who do not understand whether or not they have the coverage, the first thing you should do is contact your health insurance company on whether or not emergency medical coverage can extend outside the U.S. Okay, now, depending on a specific plan and area of travel, medical coverage, it can really vary depending on the type of plan that you have. Now, a lot of policyholders, they discover things that they have either in-network coverage, limited coverage, or no coverage at all. Okay, so what does that mean? You gotta be aware of the terms. Deductibles is one of those things that pretty much everybody's pretty much familiar with. That's the amount that the patient's got to pay for covered services before your insurance kicks in. Your co-insurance now, that's the amount that you as the patient would be responsible for paying for any covered healthcare service. And your co-amounts are set amounts for that covered healthcare service as well. So also, original Medicare, please understand, does not cover emergency medical care for travelers outside the U.S. There are some supplemental plans, however, such as Medicare Advantage or Medigap, that can provide you some of that additional coverage. So what did we say? So do Americans get any coverage if they hold, say, specific travel credit cards, such as, Chase, Sapphire, Reserve? Well, the short answer is yes. Some travel cards do offer travel insurance benefits. Recently, some of my researchers, they evaluated more than 100 credit cards and found that many of the cards do offer basic travel insurance perks. However, few cards offer emergency medical coverage or robust trip cancellation protection. Also, we found that credit card coverage may only cover what was booked using the card. Okay, so if your entire trip may not have been booked using that card, your entire trip for coverage wise may not necessarily be covered by that card. So what are we saying? Is your card insurance enough, or should travelers purchase some additional insurance? Well, first thing I always tell my travelers to do is review your credit card travel insurance policy to understand, number one, exactly what it covers and what it does not. However, even if your credit card offers some protection, it's likely it will not provide the same amount of protection that you'll get from, say, a traditional travel insurance. So what do we say? A comprehensive travel insurance policy purchased through a reputable travel insurance company pretty much will cover your entire trip, in addition to some really important benefits such as emergency medical, medical evacuation, trip interruption, if your trip is interrupted, trip delay, baggage coverage, they lose your baggage, or in some cases you get paid if your baggage is delayed more than a certain amount of hours. Okay, also you got to research your destination to see if your destination has any insurance requirements. I've had some clients that I've sent overseas, and a lot of the overseas going to Europe and Asia, a lot of those places, some of those do have insurance requirements that you must have, okay? And so sometimes it may be necessary to purchase a third-party insurance plan just to make sure you have the proper limits on coverage. I do know when COVID started, especially a lot of the cruise lines, they were requiring passengers that were traveling with unvaccinated guests to have COVID coverage as part of their plan, which means if you didn't have the right type of coverage, they weren't going to let you on the ship. So why do you think so many people are so unsure if their health insurance covers them abroad? Well, it really comes down to just one thing: reading and understanding your health insurance coverage policy, okay? Every policy is different. For this reason, what we do is recommend you contact your health insurance provider. Make sure you're clear about what type of coverage it is, okay? So if any, you want to make sure whatever you're doing when you're traveling outside the U.S., that you are covered. More and more, I see people going on trips and they didn't intend to get hurt, but something happened. They were jet skiing, they got hurt. You know, they were coming down the slide, you know, they scraped their arm on the side of the big slide, you know, or they were zip lining, or they twisted an ankle, okay? So basically, put it this way. To kind of put a number on it, if you need to be medically evacuated back to the U.S., it can easily cost you $100,000 or more, okay? So now let's ask this question. So what are some of the other misconceptions that people always ask me about? Well, another big misconception about travel insurance is that people don't really know all that their policy can cover. And one of the things I tell them is a comprehensive travel insurance plan may offer coverage for all your trip cancellation, your baggage interruption, and you also get 24-hour travel assistance and an accidental death benefit, okay? We always tell travelers that you can also find optional coverage for, say, rental car damage, okay, or financial default. Many plans also have benefits that you can also add on. One of the most important ones I always tell my travelers about is cancel for any reason, okay, coverage, okay? And let's say, what do we say about that? So cancel for any reason has become really popular option really during the pandemic, okay? So basically, cancel for any reason, or CFAR as we call it, it can give you the flexibility to cancel your trip at least 2 days prior to departure for something other than a covered reason, such as fear of travel, okay? And something to keep in mind. So to qualify for this coverage, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're personally purchasing the cancel for any reason coverage within 2 weeks after you make your first payment for your trip. That's very important because most policies have a 2-week or 14-day time frame that you can buy the cancel for any reason coverage, and it covers your trip. After that, some policies do give it to you, but they're usually restrictions. But to get the true cancel for any reason coverage, you want to make sure that's done within 2 weeks of the time that you made your first payment. So when you booked that trip and you made that deposit, that's considered your first payment, and you want to get your cancel for any reason coverage there. Why? Because some parts of your trip, in some cases, may be non-refundable, okay? And what does cancel for any reason do for you? It ensures that for some reason you have to cancel your trip, you're going to get all your money back, okay? Now, the other thing we do is we try to educate you on your travel insurance. As a travel advisor, it's my job to educate you on the travel insurance market, okay? I understand there's a lot of great resources that people learn to get the latest travel insurance benefits and learn about their coverage, and I highly encourage you to talk to your travel advisor, okay? Especially if this is your first time traveling. Make sure you talk to your travel advisor, okay, and make sure that they're giving you good information on all the COVID protocols, all the travel restrictions, what documents you have to have, if there are any medical requirements, and ultimately that they're making sure that you have the right coverage when you are traveling. So, we're not saying that, you can't use your travel card, but just make sure you understand as a traveler, what does your card cover? What does your card not cover? So that you can make sure that when you go on your vacation, the only thing you have to worry about is having fun. And in the event the unfortunate does happen, you are covered. So this is Arthur Wright coming to you from the Gold Standard Medallion Travels. Hey, we're the luxury travel advisor, and we're looking forward to seeing you on your next luxury vacation. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay on top of all the latest news and events happening in the travel agency. This is Arthur Wright. Have safe travels and have fun.